Hi everyone, I'm Rich Schifrin. I'm a dive master for Breezeway Bubbles Scuba. I've been doing this since I retired about a year and a half ago. I've been a scuba diver for about 5 years and a lifelong photographer. So I've shot everything from film cameras. I started out my underwater photography with the GoPro and very rapidly discovered how limiting the GoPro format could be, having to worry about having the right filter. Ultimately, to get the right white balance, I had to move to a video light system. It became more and more complex. It had different housings. The buttons, the ergonomics of the GoPro are designed to be a general purpose camera rather than a dedicated dive camera. So I was really excited when the Paralenz camera became available, which is a camera that's really designed for diving. As part of my work as a dive master at Breezeway Bubbles, I work with my students here in Madison, Wisconsin, who are beginning photographers, who sometimes are experienced divers, sometimes are beginning divers, but all are just beginning the journey of trying to generate memories and document their dives, and in some cases make the transition from simply documenting the dive to producing really high quality photographic images, which really become creative and artistic rather than just simple photos. We're going to be talking about the Paralenz and why this camera has become a favorite for me. But first I'm going to show you my main camera, the one that I've been using for the last couple years, that has really gotten a lot of great pictures for me around the world. I've done a number of dives in the Caribbean region. Now I've been moving out into the Pacific and are looking forward to exploring the Coral Triangle. Here is the go-to camera that I've been using. This is my really nice rig that I take with me around the world. It's laid out on the kitchen counter, and as you can see, there's quite a bit to it. When you put it all together, it weighs about 25 pounds, which is a good part of the allocation that I have for check baggage on the airline or even trying to take it by carry-on. It has both a wide-angle lens and a macro lens, along with the dome for the wide angle and a separate dome for the macro lens. So there's quite a lot here, and swimming around with the dome lens, the camera's gotten the nickname of being the Cyclops. Well, you've seen the big camera, and I really do like it. I've gotten a lot of really great pictures, like the ones behind me. However, it is large, it's heavy, it's complicated, and it's just not something that you might be able to pick up and grab for a quick dive in the afternoon. Compare that to the Paralenz. This is small, compact, easy to use, quick to use. You can throw it in the pocket of your BCD, which is something that I'm able to do and make good use of. In addition to just the size and complexity of the larger camera, you have to pay attention to it. And that means you may not be able to pay as much attention to your dive, to the current, to your bottom time, to your air supply. And these are all things that may or may not be important in a particular situation. In addition, for me as a dive master, I may need to be paying more attention to the divers that I'm with, and therefore having something that I can just pull out when I'm comfortable and maybe get some good videos or stills really makes a lot of sense for me. There's another factor that comes into play when I'm using the larger camera, And that is, before I go out on any given day, I have to decide, am I going to go with the macro lens or am I going to go with the wide angle lens? They both are great. I get good pictures with both, but they give me very different kinds of photography. And in some cases, you get down there, you see something, you say, oh gosh, I wish I had the other lens. And that's just a fact of life that you learn to live with. But it's not a limitation in the same way with the Paralenz. And that makes the Paralenz sometimes a great substitute, or, as I'll show you in a couple minutes, I can have the best of both worlds by attaching the Paralenz to the housing for my camera and have both. Another decision that I had to make with the larger camera, even though the camera has capability for both still pictures and video, they require very different lights. And as a result, either I could compromise, try to get hybrid lights, and those certainly are available, or I could make another decision to either go down with the strobes for still pictures or a high-powered video lights in order to take video. And this is just a level of complexity for me I just haven't been willing to go to. So with the Paralenz, I don't have to make that choice. I can shoot video, I can shoot stills, and I can even attach the Paralenz to my housing and be able to shoot either one. Another limitation of the larger system is that I have really good strobes, and even really good strobes on right conditions maybe have a range of 10 feet. Most of the time, not even that. Anything out of range of those strobes just doesn't work out. Whereas the Paralenz has a much more flexible environment. It will color correct. It'll shoot beyond that range. Yes, it's a very wide angle lens, but you can also do a lot if you're inclined to crop and zoom your pictures in post-production to alleviate some of that limitation, especially if you're shooting at a high resolution such as 4K. As I mentioned, the best of both worlds is being able to take the Paralenz along with my still camera. Sometimes you just don't have a shot that works well with a still camera. It might be out of range, too far away, or maybe it's just something that you don't have the right lens, or something that just works better with a video than it does with a still picture. For example, I was down in Belize and we ran across a pod of dolphins swimming around. I had my macro lens. They were out of range. The autofocus wouldn't work. That was when I decided I really wanted to start working with the Paralenz system so that I'd always have it for a situation like that. So what I was able to do, and I did this all with parts just laying around the house, some from old GoPro, others from old tripods, and just a 1/4 screw that I got from the hardware store and cut the end off. I was able to put together a nice little mount that up in my Icolite housing for the Canon camera, and it's always with me and always ready to go. One thing I really do recommend, though, is that you always use that arm strap, hand strap as a tether, attach it to the camera, just in case something works itself loose or you didn't, in my case, you didn't have things lined up quite right. You don't want to lose the Paralenz camera. So let me leave you with one thought. This is something that I always make sure to include when I'm working with new divers or new photography students. And that is, it's really helpful to have great equipment. But equipment is only great if you're comfortable using it. If it's too complicated, or even worse yet, if it's so large and bulky that you have to leave it at home, you're not going to get any pictures at all. And I have found that the Paralenz is not only a great camera for beginners, but it's a great camera, period. You need to start out with good equipment that works for you. But really great photography is done by the photographer. It's what's in here, and it's also your ability to dive, to maintain buoyancy, to get close to your subject without doing any damage, so that you can both enjoy your photographs and others can enjoy it after you.